Today we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about Toyota's supply chain management. I'm Kinde Bello.
I'm Dominic.
Haytham.
Alex.
Christian.
And Jay.
So today I'm going to talk about where Toyota cars are made. Toyota has approximately 18 different manufacturing facilities all over the world. However, the top 5 manufacturing facilities are located in China, USA, Japan, Korea and India. China produces approximately 180 million cars per year. USA and Japan, they both produce 8 million cars per year. Korea produces 4 million cars per year and India produces 3 million cars per year. So where its components made? Toyota approximately spends $32 billion per year on suppliers' parts and materials. They buy directly from 200 suppliers, account for 2 billion units. And their main suppliers are Tesla Motors, which recently assigned a $100 million argument to supply the powertrain for their cars. Samsung Electronics, which creates a car mode app connecting Samsung smartphones to the radio. And Bridgestone America produces tires for its cars. And Cypress Semiconductors to provide the touchscreen. While supply contracts are never case in stone, maintaining a strong tie with top suppliers is priority for the Japanese-based manufacturer. They give out, hand out rewards yearly to suppliers that exceed performance targets.
Where do Toyota source its raw materials? Toyota has more than 50 overseas operations in 26 different countries and regions. Toyota has close to 200 suppliers. However, their top 5 suppliers include Bridgestone, Tesla Motors, Samsung Electronics, and Cypress Semiconductors. In Toyota, they believe their selection policy for their suppliers encourages technological innovation, cost reduction, and other competitive measures. Toyota purchases its raw materials, equipment, and other supplies from several competitors globally, as I mentioned before. They work closely with their suppliers in order to obtain the best quality. So, for example, in India, they'll get a certain type, higher quality of a certain raw material than in, say, America, where they also can get their supplies from. Because they have such a large operation, procurements and parts and components are carried out locally in third countries. It's not possible for them to actually just get their supply from one place because they have such a large operation. So it would cost a lot to actually move their supply from one region to another. So they believe it's better if they establish relations with suppliers in local regions. If they can't, they find it impossible to get good supply from one region, they would then seek to go and get supply from third countries. No single supplier accounts for more than 5% of Toyota's consolidated purchases of raw materials. This is to say Toyota doesn't give, they portion their suppliers. They don't give one supplier a whole amount of work to do. They actually separate the load of work for each supplier.
Supplier relations. Toyota maintains great supplier relations with all of its suppliers, ensuring high levels of cooperation and information exchange. The first tier suppliers work together with the product development team, whilst the second tier suppliers make the individual parts. This greatly reduces the lead time in new product development as it avoids reinventing the wheel. Toyota also believes in having an overall technological development throughout their suppliers as well. It sends personnel to suppliers to compensate for the greater working loads the suppliers may receive. Besides that, it also transfers senior working managers for top positions at the suppliers so that the Toyota ethic and ideal is carried out throughout. This not only gives the suppliers greater insight into Toyota's management practices, but it also makes a move for the suppliers to learn the lean production practices initiated by Toyota. Toyota strives for a long-term relationship with its suppliers and also pursues a single sourcing strategy for their strategic components. It does leave the OEM vulnerable for disruptions, but the single sourcing strategy is also a means to establish a long-term and flexible relationship with the supplier. Since each supplier shares its destiny with the other, The level of collaboration is higher vertically and horizontally, and therefore it's considered to be more hazardous, as the relationship itself is far more flexible than a mere economic-orientated relationship between a buyer and a supplier. Toyota does not partner with its suppliers just functionally, but in operational terms as well. Suppliers are integral parts of Toyota. They are geographically located within 56-mile radius. A security of a guaranteed order is given to them to establish the best quality raw materials at the cheapest cost, achieving good economies of scale. Toyota does not believe in choosing suppliers at lowest bidder, but it believes in gradual and mutual improvement. It believes in vendor creation and development. As an initiative, this direction, it trains its suppliers as it's required to meet Toyota's needs.
I'm here to talk about the sustainable issue of Toyota. And there are four main issues of Toyota. And the first one is Toyota relies on suppliers for the provision of certain supplies, including parts, components, and raw materials. And then this problem will actually directly affect to the second problem, and it is the high prices of raw material and strong pressures on Toyota's suppliers. And because of this problem, actually Toyota's bargaining power of changing the price is very low, and this will totally affect the Toyota profitability. And then the graph shown is the UK's market share of car manufacturer. And then Toyota only got 2.61%, which is the third lowest of market share. And why would that happen? It's because of Toyota is mainly focused on its profitability instead of inventing some green products. But in this year, they have invented some very green products, and this car product is totally new, which is an electricity hybrid new car model. And the third problem is that Toyota have a very serious problem because all the car factories have to be regulated by government, including the tax rate, importing tax rate, and then the emission gas rate.
With the introduction of Toyota Way, a collection of values and organizational approaches which include lean manufacturing to ensure waste are completely eliminated and inventory is minimized. Toyota adapts total quality management, which you can see here is CQM, to continuously improve the quality and customer satisfaction as well as total participation. Being one of the largest distribution networks in Japan and globally, Toyota holds the position regarding distributing the product by placing the factories in every continent. They customize distribution regionally to ensure that each market are distributed efficiently according to the geographic or logistic limitations.
Toyota managed by the supply chain by its unique system, the TPS, Toyota Production System. The TPS inventory control system is just in time. The idea behind JIT is based on the pool system. It is one element of TPS which aims to reduce the waste and increase the efficiency by eliminating the need for each stage in the production process to hold the buffer stock. For make sure that the just-in-time can work in Toyota supply chain, Toyota introduced the Kanban system. The Kanban system is a Japanese word which is referred as a visual signboard or card. Toyota utilized the Kanban card as a signal to the preceding component batch delivery or production to avoid overproduction system. Through the continuous technological improvement, the ICT technology such as RFID, the radio frequency identification technology, inventory environment wireless communication system become more mature. In 2003, the Toyota Kanban system has evolved into the electric Kanban system. The electric Kanban system helps Toyota to optimize the traditional Kanban system, which can remove the problem of lost cars and improve the supply chain transparency.
Our recommendations for Toyota are firstly to further apply these lean principles they've put in place in order to shape, sense and respond to changes in market demand. And everything that's happening in the economic world at the moment might be important for this to be continued. Secondly, work with suppliers on a more robust design, and the reasoning for this is to mitigate the risk from sole sourcing, that being that with one supplier down it may be difficult to source certain materials. A more robust design essentially means cutting out parts or materials that can only be sourced from a single supplier and therefore lock you into them. But by cutting them out, you enable yourself to use alternate suppliers when necessary. Finally, although Toyota's already applied this, we would recommend an even further focus on acquiring, mentoring, growing and retaining supply chain talent. And what I mean by that is, earlier in the presentation we talked about how Toyota's long-term relationships enable them to develop and nurture their suppliers. It is essentially along these same lines. Thank you.